You're at a red light, scrolling, and a name you barely know lights up your phone. One line, that's it. And your whole chest changes. Not because the message was special, because someone noticed you. And lately, almost nobody has. Here's the part that should scare you a little. The less seen you've felt lately, the more that ordinary text starts doing the job of an entire relationship. A good morning text starts feeling like commitment. A compliment starts feeling like emotional intimacy. Someone remembering your favorite drink starts feeling like destiny. Not because they're doing anything extraordinary, because your emotional tank has been empty for so long that even a few drops feel like a flood. And that's where people make one of the most expensive mistakes of their lives. They don't fall in love with a person, they fall in love with relief. There's a difference. Relief feels like love when you've been emotionally starving. Your brain doesn't always know it, and neither does your heart. Here's why that happens. Your brain treats loneliness as a survival problem, not an inconvenience. John Bowlby's attachment research is the reason this isn't a character flaw or a weakness. He argued that being separated from your people was never just uncomfortable for a human nervous system. For most of our history, it was dangerous. No protection, no community, sometimes no survival. So when someone suddenly notices you, your brain doesn't calmly say, "Interesting, someone's showing interest." It says, "Finally, we're safe again." That's why attention can feel so addictive. You're not just craving romance, you're craving rescue. The scary part is that your brain often rewards attention before it evaluates the person giving it, which means someone can be completely wrong for you and still feel exactly right. Not because of compatibility, because your loneliness is screaming louder than your judgment. Need has a way of making ordinary attention feel extraordinary, which is exactly why people ignore obvious red flags in the beginning. Not because they're blind, because emotional starvation makes almost any emotional meal look healthy. Think about how this actually plays out. Someone shows up inconsistent, vague about the future, a little too slow to introduce you to their friends. And under normal circumstances, your judgment would flag every one of those things immediately. But loneliness doesn't evaluate, it rewards. The nervous system that's been running on empty for months isn't asking, "Is this person good for me?" It's asking, "Does this feeling stop the ache?" Those are two entirely different filters, and only one of them protects you long-term. The second one just makes the ache quiet for a while, which is exactly why it's so easy to mistake for the real thing. And by the time you realize the difference, you're often already attached. But here's what almost nobody names out loud, and it's the part that actually matters. This isn't really about loneliness on its own. It's about where you've quietly started outsourcing your sense of worth. Notice what happens on the days no one texts first. If your entire mood depends on whether your phone buzzes, if a quiet notification screen sends you into rehearsing what you did wrong, you're not just lonely anymore. You've handed strangers a vote on whether you're worth loving. That's the truly expensive part. Not the loneliness itself, the auditing. Attention and love are not the same signal, even though loneliness reads them identically. Attention says, "I see you." Love says, "I understand you." Those are not the same experience. Attention is easy. Understanding takes time. Attention disappears the moment someone new appears. Love stays when life becomes inconvenient. That's why confusing the two becomes so expensive. You start chasing people who make you feel exciting instead of choosing people who make you feel safe. You mistake butterflies for compatibility. You mistake obsession for intimacy. You mistake being desired for being deeply known, and those are not the same thing. The right relationship shouldn't feel like emotional oxygen after years underwater. It shouldn't feel like finally being allowed to breathe. That intensity, the sense that you've just been rescued from drowning, isn't a sign you found the right person. It's a sign of how long you were underwater. Real compatibility is quieter than that. It doesn't announce itself as relief. It just feels steady, which is exactly why people overlook it in favor of whoever shows up loud. So try this, not as a punishment, but as evidence gathering. Start spending intentional time with yourself. Go for walks without your phone. Eat somewhere alone. Drive without music. Be bored on purpose. Not because loneliness is enjoyable, because every minute you prove to yourself that you're capable of surviving your own company, you become less desperate for someone else's. And desperation is one of the easiest emotions in the world to manipulate. Here's the cost if you skip this step entirely. Loneliness doesn't lower your standards overnight. It slowly convinces you that having anyone is better than having no one. That's how people mistake availability for compatibility. And every year you let someone else's attention set your worth, you get a little worse at recognizing real love when it finally shows up. You've trained yourself to respond to any warm signal, not just the right one. That's not a small price. That's your ability to recognize the real thing, quietly eroding year after year. So ask yourself the uncomfortable version of this question. If every notification disappeared tomorrow, if nobody liked your photos, if nobody texted first, would you still believe you were worthy of love? If the answer depends on someone else's attention, you're not lonely. You're leveraged, and that's a dangerous way to spend a decade. Real love doesn't rescue you from loneliness, because when someone becomes your rescue, they also become your survival, and anything that becomes your survival can also take it away. Real love joins a life that was already whole enough to stand on its own. Build the worth first. Let the right person add to it later, not rescue you from its absence. LoveLens.